Welcome, everybody. Welcome into the Early Edge, the afternoon live version here on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. We do it every single Thursday from 5 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern time, but this is just getting us started. By the fall, we're going to be up to 7 days a week, and our audience continues to grow week after week after week. So we've got the comments open. We want you guys to be completely interactive, and we've got a lot of things that we're going to get to today. Before I bring in the stars of the show, we have something extraordinary just for you today. Here's what we're going to do. If we get 100 likes, we're going to give away one free year-long subscription to SportsLine. If we get to 200 likes, 2 free year-long subscriptions. 300 likes, well, I think you see where we're going. We're also starting something new that we want everybody to be able to root for the same thing. It's not a pick on the show. It's not a pick that we have. We just thought it'd be fun to root for the over tonight because the Nuggets-Blazers game has been so good. So if the over hits 227.5, get this. We're going to give away 5 year-long subscriptions to SportsLine. So here's what we need you to do. In the comment section on YouTube, we need you to leave your Twitter handle and also write the word over. That way we know you want to participate. And if the over hits, 5 year-long subscriptions to SportsLine. And we got a lot to talk about over the course of the next hour. So let's bring in my guys right now. You know him, you love him. Look how clear he is. Fresh home from the Yankees-Rays game, Justin Perri. What's good, my man?
It was an awful day for the Yankees, but I had a blast, had some nice seats, got to watch Garrett Cole pitch well for a few innings before getting undone a little bit there. But doing well, had a great time. Happy to be here, too. How you guys doing?
Hey, Justin, when you're a big star for CBS SportsLine now, you get those tickets. That's what happens.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
It's a good life. Yeah,
it is a good life, and you look great. You sound great, and I'm here for it. Now, if you're M Square and you live high on the hog like my man M Square does, then you're playing tennis. You're playing tennis right up to showtime. What's up, Mikey?
Yeah, a little tennis match ran a little late. Went to a tiebreak. I'll be honest, I lost. It was an embarrassing loss. I was up 5-2 in the set and came back and lost the tiebreak. But that's all right. I was mentally preparing for the show after I was up 5-2, and, we're here. We're ready.
We're here.
Only question. Justin, is that a foul ball from the game?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
it actually
nice.
wasn't a foul ball. It was the ball that ended the top of the 9th inning that Frazier threw, and I actually managed to get my hands on. So
wow.
Okay.
And he stole it from the 6-year-old that was sitting right next to him.
It was no one was in the area. Every kid who was sitting around had a ball in their hands. They were generous today, and took a little souvenir home for myself. Why not? It was a good time.
I like it. By the way, I tell people all the time that we grind, and me and Mikey are on 7 days a week. To tell you how much I'm grinding today, I am moving into a brand new home with a brand new studio. As we speak, I've got movers behind the camera that are carrying furniture because it got a little longer than I anticipated. So I'm doing the show with movers in the house and trying to get everything out of this house and move to my new house. So I couldn't.
Congratulations. Congratulations. That's very exciting.
The new studio is going to be great. But I couldn't just not be on the show. You know what I mean? No. I missed last week because the PGA Tour live. So we figured it out. So it's good. So we're all three here. We've got an hour to get to. And I want to start. First, I'm going to tell everybody what we have on the show today because earlier today we have the Cubs-Giants under 8.5. We're going to get to that game, guys, in just a little bit because I know, Justin, you're on a side of that game as well. The golf has had 2 weather delays, so our Neiman over Scheffler is only like 5 holes in. Unfortunately, Neiman started 2 over. And then we're about to cash the Rockies. Maestro's on the Rockies. I know, Justin, you were on the Rockies too, 7-0. That's going to be an easy cash here in just a couple of minutes. And then Deandre Ayton over 25.5 points and rebounds from the Maestro tonight as well. And we're also on the Suns +2 from SportsLine as well. And, guys, that's where I want to start because tonight there is the opportunity for the Lakers to go home, the defending champions, LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time. They could go out in the first round. Do you like the number, Mikey? I'm going to start with you. That 2-point number, is that where it should be in your opinion?
Mike's muted, I think.
All right, so I think Mike is muted. We're going to get him unmuted here in a second.
We're back. We're back.
We're back.
Go ahead,
Chief
Mike.
was barking in the background at a neighbor, so we're good now. But I think this number is appropriate with a Lakers team that's backs up against the wall, like, put up or shut up time. We're going to see very extended minutes from LeBron. We're going to see him empty the tank. Absolutely no reason not to. We know that LeBron cares about his legacy. He knows he has to leave it all on the floor and at least force Game 7. He must force a Game 7 essentially for his legacy here. So will it happen? Who knows? But I definitely think the market and the number here is appropriate because I do think you're going to see everything he's got. I think he's going to absolutely empty the tank tonight.
His points, assists, and rebounds number, the last time I saw it, guys, was 48.5, I think is what it was. The Suns right now to win the series are minus 280. The Lakers are plus 240. And, of course, the Suns are up 3 games to 2. Is there any value, Justin, in your opinion, laying that 280, knowing you just got to win one of the next 2 games to cash it?
I don't think so. I think it's a little too much juice for me. It's, you're going against LeBron James. I don't know if that's what you really want to be putting your money on at those odds personally.
Well, I tell you what, Anthony Davis, they've been very, very quiet about him playing or not. And this is kind of a great opportunity, guys, to educate the people at home, because when you've got a star that absolutely affects the line like Anthony Davis, but yet you don't know, A, if he's going to play, B, if he does play, what can he contribute? He has an injury that's very difficult. As a former college basketball player myself, when you hurt that groin, it kills the rest of your game. It's like hurting your lower back. You physically can't do anything else. So even if he is able to go, which I don't think he's going to go, I don't think he's going to be very effective. And I think right now the Lakers are on their last legs, and I'm thinking about laying the 280. I agree with you, Justin, but I'm actually thinking about laying the 280 because the Suns are pretty good to us. Mikey?
Yeah, I think that I love my numbers and the math behind a lot of this. You can actually calculate whether or not you think that this is a good bet, and what you're saying, it actually might be a good value bet. So basically, what you're going to do, knowing that the Lakers need to win both games, right? They have to. They have to win 2 games in a row, no matter what. So because of that, you can take their money line, which is minus 134, turn it into a percent. Then you can project what the money line in theory would be for the second game. If you multiply those 2 together, that's going to give you a number around plus 300, essentially. The inverse of that would be the price that it would be appropriate for the Suns to win the series.
Wow.
I know it's a little complicated, but what I'm saying, basically, you take the money line in terms of percent, multiply those together. That is how unlikely it is, which is going to be around 25, 26, 27% that the Lakers could win both of these games. So the inverse of that's going to be your, 74, 75, 76%. Turn that into a money line. That's how you're going to see a minus 280, minus 290 price on this one.
I know it sounds complicated, but I think you do a phenomenal job of describing it to us and explaining it to us. And it's not that complicated the way that you put it. Now, LeBron James, we do have to look at history here because he has had some incredible performances over the years, albeit when he was much younger. The last time he overcame a 3-2 series deficit, 2018, against the Celtics, in Game 6 and 7, listen to these numbers, guys. He averaged 40.5 points per game, 13 rebounds a game, 9 assists a game in Game 6 and 7. 2013, he did 39 and 7. And then 2012 against the Celtics, 38, 13, and 3. So, to your point, Justin, I think we have to be very, very careful because we're dealing with a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, one of these transcendent superstars that has the ability to dig down deep, that can throw the numbers out the window. We know he's not going to play his usual 35 tonight. It's going to be 42, 43 minutes tonight. So everything's going to be a little bit out of whack. The total is 208.5. Wow. That screams defensive game to me. Yep. Do we like that number? Do we not like that number?
I mean, I personally do. I like the under if I'm going to take it. I'm not playing it. I think, we saw a similar number for the Knicks-Hawks game last night. I'm not going to talk too much about my Knicks today. We're looking forward to the future. But no, I think when you get a number like that, that usually indicates that there's a really strong chance that it is an even more defensive game than even the Vegas odds are considering, because they also have to weigh the blowout. So you get to sort of feel out your own personal choice against what like the projected distribution of results is going to be. But yeah, I'd probably take the under if I had to. And, I definitely agree that LeBron is the type of player who can, will a team through a game, who can take over, who has what it takes. I mean, he doesn't look like he's 36 right now. He can ball with the best. So
that's very, very true. We're at 47 likes right now, getting to 100. Don't forget, we're going to give away a year-long subscription when we hit 100 likes. So get those likes in right now. Mikey, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I'll have a thought on that, and I think why we've seen this number. It's currently sitting 207 and a half many places in the market. Why it's coming down. I think it goes back to what I said about LeBron leaving everything on the floor. It's what you said, Coach. You talked about how much he's going to play in this game. If LeBron is playing extended minutes, they're not running. They're going to slow it down. They're going to have half-court offense. LeBron is going to ISO. He's going to try and post up Jay Crowder. He's going to try and get in a pick and roll of some kind with somebody else on him. That's going to eat into the shot clock. If he's going to play 42 minutes, he's not going to want to run and push the pace in this game at all.
No way.
So, that's a great
slow
point.
42 minutes for LeBron tonight.
A lot of you are just coming in right now. You're dipping in, dipping out of the live stream. If you're just joining us, we're doing a lot of free giveaways today. 100 likes, going to be a year-long subscription, 202. 303. Also, a pretty cool thing we're doing. If the Nuggets Blazers hits over 227.5, we're going to give away 5 year-long subscriptions. We just want to root for something together as a community. So you got to leave your Twitter handle over in the comment section at YouTube, and then write the word over to let us know that you want to participate and you want to be a part of that giveaway. So let's switch now, guys, to the Nuggets and the Blazers. And rare is the time that you bet on a game like we did in Game 5. And it's so good that you read, including I wrote this, you read on social media, I really don't care if I win this bet. This game is so good. And they wanted Damian Lillard to keep hitting the ridiculous threes, which he did time after time, down 8, a minute to go. No problem. Let's tie it, and let's go to a second overtime. He was insane. And so when you look at the combined points per game in this year's playoffs, the Nuggets Blazers are 240.2. That's an insane number in the playoffs, which is normally slowed down, more defense, all kinds of that. What have you guys made just from the fact that if you just blindly bet the over, A, it's a lot of fun, but B, it's probably going to hit?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more fun. There's not a more miserable sweat than betting basketball unders, essentially. With the three-point shot and how well some of these teams shoot, it can definitely be frustrating. But yeah, I think that if I had to play it, I would certainly lean over. I mean, we've also seen that out of any of the games, we've seen this series a lot in the regular season as well. Like, it's not going to shock anyone that this game goes to overtime. Absolutely not. Like, it just seems like these two teams, both of them, whether they're playing each other or other teams, they have a knack for overtime. I have no data to back that up in front of me. I'd like to look at it, but it feels like both of these teams have a lot of overtime games.
Sure does feel that way. The odds to win the series right now, it's obviously 3-2 Nuggets. 8 Eastern on TNT. The Nuggets are minus 250. The Trailblazers come back at plus 210, but much like the Lakers, they have to win Game 6 and Game 7. Now, here's an interesting play. So Matt Severance at SportsLine said he's going to play the Blazers on the money line, which is minus 200, because and I think I understand and appreciate his mentality that playoffs are much tighter. And this series certainly is much tighter, and it's Portland by 5, and you don't want to lose by 3, win the game, but only win by 3. So he wants to lay the juice. Is 200 too high for either one of you?
I don't know if it's too high. I mean, I fully think that we're going to be coming back to the Game 7. So if you think that they're going to be going on to Game 7, I don't think you take it. I think you take the better line on Game 7.
That takes a lot of discipline. That takes a lot of discipline to sit out tonight and not bet the side. Maybe you just bet the over. Go ahead, Mike.
I've talked about it many times, especially with the team like the New York Knicks. We've done it a few times. I think the best advice I can give you there is this Blazers team sometimes is notorious for starting slow. Damian Lillard owns the fourth quarter, comes in, and as long as they're within 15 at the start of the fourth quarter, it's truly Dame time. It really is. So this minus 1, it's like minus 185, minus 200 across the board right now. If you watch and want to live bet this, you're likely going to be able to pick it off, assuming they get down a little bit early. You might be able to get it at minus 120, minus 130. And if it never gets there, you can live with the fact that it never got there and maybe look to play the game a different way. But overall, I think it's probably a better idea to not be laying more than minus 150 in this particular spot, just because I think that there's one player in particular that's probably not who most people think it is. Yusuf Nurkic. He has got to stay out of foul trouble for them. If he gets into foul trouble, it did cost them the game essentially there when they went into overtime.
Yeah.
If the Nuggets find a way to get him in foul trouble, like you're laying minus 200 on a team that is probably plus 130. So I think that there's better opportunities to play it in game than there is at this price. If it came down to minus 150 range, I think it's fine. But that's just kind of how I feel about it.
There are several players in the playoffs that play stupid, and he's one of them. And to your point the other night, he only had 4 fouls. I believe it was the first overtime or whatever. Whenever he fouled out, he had 4 fouls. Then he got his final 2 fouls in a matter of like 30 seconds, and they were both stupid fouls. When you're your only big man other than Enes Kanter, you've got to be on the floor, especially at the end of regulation, certainly in overtime, and you can't be dumb enough to make those stupid fouls. Sometimes you have to let him score. Sometimes you have to let him have a rebound. Sometimes you have to let him just leave them alone. And that was, if you're a Portland bettor, that was very, very frustrating because you knew that big boy from Denver was just going to take over, and that's exactly what he did.
Big boy took over. No, I agree. It's tough when your big men can't stay out of foul trouble because in the long run, you want to have that talent in to defend the paint more than you care about any singular rebound, right? The value of that person, of that elite defender, of the person who gets the minutes being there is going to outweigh the dunk that he stopped or the layup that he stopped. Like, obviously there are good foul situations, right? We talk about smart, good fouls, and that can, change momentum swings and slow a team down. But yeah, you don't want to be frivolous, and definitely seen Coach getting mad at a couple dumb players in the playoffs. And we all feel that way. I mean, Portland let Damian Lillard down in that overtime. It was terrible because that was an all-time performance, 12 for 15 from 3, all-time performance, and he didn't get a W.
He's one of the greatest shot makers ever. Go ahead, Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, it's it was very improbable that the game was even competitive and went to overtime. Damian Lillard just put on an absolute clinic, but the real story about it was you got Carmelo Anthony at this stage in his career trying to check Nikola Jokic in the fourth quarter and overtime. Like that's the real issue, right? Like that's the problem. That's why Nurkic is the most important player for them in this matchup. He really is.
It's important.
You also one thing I didn't quite understand too, and the end of the game was all a blur to me, whether it's regulation, first overtime, second overtime. But there was like 8 seconds to go, and Michael Porter Jr. is guarding Damian Lillard. And I understand he could pull up at any point, but he was all the way back, guys, on the logo at midcourt. And so why would you not foul him the minute he starts to make his move? And then he's got to make 2, and then you do that game. Less than 7 seconds, you're going to win. You're going to win, but you've got to foul him. And they let him get into a spot, take it to the right, and then he had a wide open 3. And Porter was nowhere close to him. You've got to make better decisions. But when you're giving 2 points, that's a sweat right there, right? That was a sweat for us. We're like, if he fouls him, makes 1 or 2, so it's weird when you're watching from a betting perspective instead of just a fan perspective, right? Yep. It's still so completely, completely different. All right, we're getting towards the half of our hour. This hour goes so completely fast. If you're just joining us, welcome into the live version of Early Edge. We do it every single Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Today, if you're just joining us, you're going to be a part of something really, really special. We're giving a 1-year-long subscription to SportsLine for 100 likes. We're getting very, very close. 2 if we get to 200. But also, if you want to participate in our over promotion, if the Nuggets and the Blazers go over 227.5, we're going to give away 5. We're going to give away 5 subscriptions to SportsLine. All you got to do is leave us your Twitter handle and then write the word over, and you will be eligible. And the jeweler, as always, will decide because he runs our show as our executive producer. Guys, why don't we switch over now to baseball? Because I know, Justin, you went to a game today, and I want to start one of the late games tonight. Mikey, you gave out the under today on the show, Cubs and the Giants, but then, Justin, you're on the Giants, I believe you said, on the money line, minus 125. Why don't you start with the side, then Mikey, we'll piggyback, see if anything's changed on your underplay. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking the Giants here. I think that they're one of the best home teams in baseball, and they are actually the best team in baseball. I think that goes a little unnoticed here and there. I really like what Anthony DeSclafani has been doing, especially at home. Look for him to have a strong K to walk ratio. It's really been the determining factor. So if you're going to watch that game to monitor your bet, if it doesn't look like his command's there, if he's walking guys, that's probably a red flag for the game, but that's really what I think we're going to be looking for. I'm not really too impressed on the other side here for Davies. He just doesn't have the metrics I'm looking for. He has an expected slugging of 505. His walk percentage is 11.7. His expected weighted on base average is 398. So these are like bottom tier numbers. And this is a great offense and maybe an underrated offense in the Giants. So I'm definitely grabbing this number at minus 125. I know the Cubs are hot, but I think you're going to get a decent performance from DeSclafani, and the Giants should take this one.
Mikey, what about your under?
Yeah, the under, stop me if you've heard this before, but we have a half run of value here. Bet it at 8.5 down to 8. Very clear sharp side in the market. Over 60% of the action and the money on the over at that 8.5, and it's still come down to the 8 number, which indicates a lot of sharp people have put a significant amount of money on the Giants under here. Like Justin said, I love DeSclafani. It turns out if you move from Great American Ballpark to AT&T or whatever we want to call it in San Francisco now, that is a big deal. It's a massive park shift difference. So I love it here. The negative VMI, the concerns are with Davies, right? Davies has been awful. The thing that Davies hasn't been doing is he really hasn't been giving up home runs. Some of it, even though the expected numbers won't say it, still can be equated to some of the batted ball luck, essentially where the ball is hit. Just because he's, it's not, the ball's not leaving the yard. It's just balls in play that are not being fielded, not, whatever it may be. There's obviously an element to luck. There's obviously an element to his skill set there, but it's just it's the most friendly park environment he will have all season, literally. Night game at this park, negative VMI for both teams. It's a great get right spot for him. We saw it in Major League Baseball last night with Sean Manaea. I mentioned it kind of on the other show that I do on YouTube there, and I played him. If you're on SportsLine, he was my number one pitcher in daily fantasy last night. He struggled all year, came out through a complete game shutout last night, 9 innings, got the win, huge park shift. Very similar thing here. I'm not projecting a complete game shutout from Davies by any means, but at 8.5, this one was at least a half run, if not a full run, too high. So, which is why you've seen the sharp market really hammer it at 8.5.
All right. Yeah, I got it in at 8.5 earlier today in my book. Has it at 8 as well, and our good partners at William Hill have it as 8. A couple of updates for live games right now. We're on the Rockies today. Justin is, and so is the Maestro. They're up 9-2, mid-7, so they're the home team, so they only have to get through 2 more at-bats for the Rangers before we catch that. The Red Sox just beat the Astros on the road 5-1. The Rays, the game that Justin was at, they beat the Yankees today 9-2 and beat Garrett Cole in the process. And then the Braves today early beat the Nationals 5-1. So those are your numbers right now. We've hit the 100 likes, so let's get to 200 likes and give away 2 more year-long subscriptions to SportsLine. And throw in your Twitter handle if you want to be a part of the over giveaway, over 227.5 in that Nuggets-Blazers game, 8 Eastern on TNT. It's not usual that we have 2 West Coast games, or Western Conference games, and that's what we have tonight. So an 8 o'clock start and then a 10:30 start out here in LA where I am right now. We want to be completely interactive, so send us your questions as well. I've been kind of ignoring the questions, and I apologize for that. So we're going to kind of jump all over the place depending on what questions come in. We'll get back to baseball in a second. But guys, we had a question come in from a viewer. What do we think about Damian Lillard over 8.5 assists tonight in that game?
Yep. I think it's a very interesting call. Look, they were competitive. He went absolutely bananas in the last game with the scoring at the end. But this team They were better in the game when he was facilitating. They just were. When they were letting Norman Powell try to do some of the scoring, let McCollum do it, try to keep Nurkic involved and out of foul trouble. The issue is I think Nurkic also literally gets frustrated sometimes watching Damian Lillard ISO and try and score and shoot 40 times. I think they're a better team when he's facilitating. I personally, with them at home, I think that they're going to come out. I think he's going to facilitate for 3.5 quarters. I think that's what's going to happen tonight. So I do like it. To get there, like in a true simulation number, I would have to make that manual adjustment because it's not the way he plays all year. It's a way that they played in that one game. If you think that happens again, I tend to think it will. I think he comes out facilitating early because, look, I think that also he wants to get those other guys involved. So they're feeling good enough and confident enough to hit that shot at the end of the game when he unfortunately has to pass, right? So I like it. The simulation number is not going to say it. It's going to say 8 is the right number, but I do like it.
He's gotten 10 in all but one game of this series, right? He has 5 in the one, I think, in game 3 or maybe game 4. But I do believe he's hit double digits in most of the games. So that seems like a decent bet to me, and especially if you think they're going to win, right? So it's like a correlated bet. If you think they win the game, there's a likelihood that he's going to be that distributor. So I think you'd go with that.
You know what I thought when I watched the game the other night? Because there was a couple plays late where he had a nice dish. I'm trying to remember the player, but he missed the dunk. And a gorgeous
Covington twice.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I saw so many missed dunks in games. But Damian was very overtly frustrated with the fact that Covington tried to put a little extra sauce on it instead of just finishing it. It's such an important part of the game. It doesn't matter how the dunk goes home. Just make the damn dunk. And we're starting to see other players, I think, to your point, Mikey, that are getting frustrated either by not getting the basketball from Dame or not getting it at money time late. But when you have Damian Lillard, and this is what the great superstars do. MJ did it. Kobe did it. That you say, listen, this is my team. This is my time. You guys are here for me to play. But to your point, sometimes his threes are so deep that they're not good shots. And even the announcers were kind of talking about it, that the shots were not that good. And tonight, I think he also has a sixth sense when he knows his teammates are getting frustrated and he wants to get them involved. And I think, to Mikey's point, that will happen tonight through at least the first half. Yeah. At least the first half, maybe through the first 3 quarters. We have another question just came in. A lot of people want to talk basketball today, so that's fine. We'll talk basketball today. Win or lose aside, what do we think about LeBron James triple-double? And I've got Julia looking up the stats right now, or the number for that at William Hill. There it is right now. Minus 170, yes. Plus 140, no for a double-double. And then plus 375, yes. Minus 500, no. So that tells me, guys, that they think it's going to happen tonight.
Wait, they think it's not. They don't think he's going to get a triple-double. Plus 375 on the right. So
yeah, I would say that they're saying there's a much better chance because this number has been 400, 450, I believe, even maybe as high as 500 at times during this series. It's definitely shaded more towards him getting it than it has been in the past. But I don't know if you have any other thoughts on it, Justin.
It seems like they're likely expecting him not to do it, which I'm imagining is going to be in the assists cat. I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't really know which stat is going to be the problem for him if he's really going after it tonight and giving it his all. He might be going up for the boards. That's probably where it's going to be the biggest difficulty. He should be distributing. So it's really about, do you think people take the boards away from him, which he doesn't always necessarily go after really, intensely.
Yeah, I think it rebounds. Sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
No. Go right ahead.
I think rebounds will be the one that is the most challenging for him. I expect the assists to get there. I think we're going to see a classic LeBron game. First quarter, he's going to do what I think Lillard should do. LeBron's going to go out there in the first quarter. He's going to facilitate, try and get 1 or 2 of his shooters hot early in this game if he can, knowing that he's going to play extended minutes, shoulder the load, really, into the second quarter, last 6 minutes, he's going to turn it on. The entire second half, he's going to have it turned on. But he's going to try and figure out who he can trust, who he's getting hot early in this game. I don't think the assists will be the trouble. I think it's going to be a matter of, is the game competitive enough that LeBron's going to be hungry enough to go get that rebound, as opposed to letting Dennis Schroeder grab 3 or 4 of them, right? That's the issue.
So would you take that double-double then? Do you like that number on the double-double? I mean, minus 170, the implied odds aren't that crazy, but if we're saying that the assists aren't going to be that problematic, that might not be the worst bet tonight.
It might not be the worst bet. I think that I like the plus 375 a lot more. I'd look for odds boosts to see if you can find them anywhere, but I think that it's also an event that's correlated with the win.
Yep.
So, kind of depends on your stance on the game, right? If you're all over the Suns, love the Suns, I'd probably shy away from the LeBron triple-double just a little bit, because I think that those are inversely correlated.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting the other day, and maybe this is it's always hard when a superstar that we've been watching for damn near 2 decades starts to decline a little bit. The other day, in the past, when a team gets on a roll and gets a lead, LeBron's been able to single-handedly stop it and turn the game around. He was unable to do that. It was a 30-point game early in the third quarter. That's something you don't normally see a LeBron James team do, but it showed how vital and how important Anthony Davis is to this basketball team. And I wonder if LeBron has it in him without AD to be able to stop the offensive juggernaut that is the Phoenix Suns. And with that said, let's switch gears to another play we have on the show that one of our viewers wants us to hit on, and that is Deandre Ayton. And we were talking today on our thread, guys, whether we would play him points and rebounds only, or add in the 1 or 2 extra to play the points, assists, and rebounds as well. It's 27.5 for his par. Mike, let's start with you because you were on the show this morning. We were talking about it first. He's become kind of the second option behind Devin Booker for this Phoenix Suns team.
He definitely has. I think that this is a really tough spot for me. I really wanted to play it. It makes a ton of sense to play the over on it. I think that he's going to come in there and get his double-double. The thing, I hate to be that guy, but I question whether he's going to stay out of foul trouble. I think LeBron is going to do everything he possibly can to get one of Jay Crowder or DeAndre Ayton in early foul trouble in this game. I think that is the Lakers' true path to victory here. And I hate to be the guy that says this, but a Game 7 is not the worst thing for the NBA. It just isn't. There might be a friendly call that goes LeBron's way. The issue with LeBron is he's so damn strong that some of those calls he may not get. But I think that's my only pause for concern. I think that one of those 2 players is going to get in early foul trouble. The data says to play the over. The data says it should be about 29. My only cause for concern, like I said, normally it's 100% blindly follow the data until we talk about a team going home. And then there's a ton more of the human element that is just very, very difficult to quantify. So.
Yeah. I'll just jump in and point out that DeAndre Ayton has 3 assists in the series. I wouldn't add the assist number personally. I think you go points and rebounds. That was the initial question on how to play it. The points and the rebounds are how he's attacking. They're not really trusting the big guy to be distributing the ball. He only had 2 assists in Game 5 and then 1 assist in the previous 4 games. So that means most time that he's leaving the floor, he's leaving it with 0 or 1. So paying 2 more points, I feel like is an unneeded risk, and I'd probably go with the points and rebounds if I was betting it. I'm not, but that's how I would do it.
Well, that's exactly what I did. I bet the points and rebounds earlier today because I hate it when the odds start to shoot up closer to game time. So I certainly listen to the early edge, not just because I'm a part of it and I host it, but because we have really smart guys like the Maestro, Mikey, and Justin on it. By the way, if you're wondering, Justin is going to be a part of the early edge moving forward. He doesn't even know that yet, but we're going to be putting him on the show here very, very soon, and we're excited about it. So we've hit 100 likes. If you're just joining us, we're past the bottom of the hour here on our SportsLine YouTube channel. Thank you all for joining us. So much. We continue to grow every single day. Now, we're about halfway to the 200 likes, which would mean 2 free year-long giveaways from SportsLine, which it's invaluable. The simulations, the cappers, Justin, Mikey, Maestro, Tommy, they're all there. You get access to all of them. And also be a part of our Nuggets Blazers over bonus tonight, over 227.5. Leave your Twitter handle and write the word over if you want to be a part of it. Now, I want to go back to baseball because one of our viewers just gave us a question, and it was one of the games I wanted to hit on. Thoughts on Cardinals getting against a watered-down Reds lineup in St. Louis? Cards -1 is even money. They're coming off a weekend, guys, where yesterday they did not have a day off to travel from LA back to St. Louis. They gave up 11 runs in the first inning yesterday. They've been absolutely getting blasted by the Dodgers with no days off. Do we like this play? Do we like the Cardinals tonight against that watered-down lineup of the Reds?
That one's tough.
I'll take that one for a spin quickly. I mean, the Cardinals have been an interesting team to try to handicap, but I think the Reds are watered down. They do play a little worse outside of the Great American Ballpark. They are usually inflated by a favorable ballpark. I think they look like they have a little bit of the sharp side on them from the indicators I'm seeing. I probably, this was a stay away. I mean, I didn't put a pickup on it. It's usually what it means for me. But I think if I had to play it, I'm probably looking at the over just because I do think that this one could be a little bit of like one of those not interleague, one of those like NL Central battles where the scoring just sort of flows. So,
okay, very good, Mikey.
Yeah, I would say that there's an unknown because it's a young pitcher. I believe it's his only Vladimir Gutierrez's second MLB start.
Oh wow,
he got promoted pretty quick. He started the year in AAA. Just ridiculous numbers. It's per 9 innings. Obviously very good. So he's got some of that upside. The question that you kind of threw there, Coach, was the off. They've traveled back on the West Coast, heading back to Central Time. It's not an insignificant time shift. I personally would be hesitant on it. It's to the point where if you like that side, though, I would much rather have the -1.5 and get the extra 30 cents paid off. So it's -1.5 plus 130 as opposed to the -1 at even money. If I'm going to take that play, I know it's even money and you're not losing anything additional, but if I'm going to take on that extra risk for the reasons that we just mentioned, I would like to get rewarded for taking that risk, if that makes sense.
And most books don't even give the -1. Most it's either half for the first 5 or 1.5 for the run night. My book doesn't even give a 1. So there's that. There's 2 A plays that I want to hit on, guys, in baseball tonight. And that is the Chicago White Sox. -203 is an A play. The simulations have them beating the Tigers 5.0 to 3.2. Now, there's been times this year where the Tigers have shown up, and it just ticked me off because they win games that they have no business winning. But the White Sox are showing us day in and day out, even with the oldest manager on planet Earth, that they are one of the best teams in all of baseball. They have great players. They have great hitters. They are up and down the lineup. They are solid. I have been playing the White Sox a lot, laying these big numbers and cashing almost every single time. What do we make of them tonight? -203, A play at SportsLine.
For me, it's one that Casey Mize is a very interesting pitcher. He projects to be a very, very good starting pitcher. It's just a matter of, does he have his command? We've seen it a few times this year where he's walking batters. If he does, the White Sox should cruise in this one. If not, I think it's going to be a relatively competitive game. I still give the edge to the White Sox, especially later in this game. But I do respect Mize. I think he's someone that all the numbers look pretty good overall. So I think that it's probably priced appropriately still because of how good Lynn has been and how good the White Sox are. But it's not going to shock me at all if Mize really rounds into form because he's shown a lot of upside. So that's kind of my thought on it. I personally would not lay the -200 price on it. But I think that a lot of people that have watched me for a long time know that I'm not laying a -200 very often.
We know you love those plus and the run lines for sure. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's a similar scenario. The Tigers have been a little pesky. So if I was going to touch this, I definitely wouldn't be laying -215 or whatever you're seeing if you're shopping around. I do think that there's a little value on the Tigers potentially. I mean, they've won 4 of their last 5. They took 3 of the games off of the Yankees, and I don't really know if that's much of an accomplishment anymore. But I don't think that this is just right now the schlub of a team that we saw to open the season. They were pretty bad to open the season, and they've been a lot more respectable recently. So I don't know if this is a little bit of favoritism in the market on the White Sox, which everybody is like, oh, the White Sox just win. And, this is usually Thursdays are getaway games. I'm not 100% sure. I need to check the schedule here. This might be the start. Yeah, this is the first game of the series. So this is probably a good place for Chicago to come out and say, we're going to win the first one. We're the better team. Let's really put it on tonight. So, yeah, I probably don't have a play on this one. I'd probably lean over because both these teams have shown recently that they can score. I think the Tigers have like 5+ runs in 4 of their last 5. So they're hitting the ball. I think you probably have some value on an overplay, if anything.
See, that's what I've started doing. Is that if I'm not really sure, but I still want to, because I follow SportsLine and my cappers to a T, and I usually bet almost every game on the board. So I bet a lot of overs because of what you're talking about. When you look at even if SportsLine just gives that to me, I still feel more comfortable that the simulations are backing me on that. Guys, we have our first winner today. Here we go. Drum roll, please. All right, our first winner of a year-long subscription to SportsLine, which has no value. It's invaluable. At MTMJ_Moondog. That's one of the worst handles I've ever heard in my life. However, it's not my handle, so I don't care. At MTMJ_Moondog, you, sir, or you, ma'am, are now part of the family officially at SportsLine. By the way, you have to follow SportsLine as well to be eligible. Whether it's at YouTube, whether it's on social media, just follow SportsLine across the board. Just follow them across the board. We're getting very close to the 200 like number, and when we do, we will give away another year-long subscription to SportsLine. And then, of course, stay tuned to the show tomorrow morning. If the Nuggets and the Blazers hit the over 227.5, you leave us your Twitter handle and also write the word over. We're going to give away 5 year-long subscriptions tomorrow. Don't worry. I talked to the bosses. They're not going to fire me. I almost got fired a month ago because Mikey he was perfect for like 8 days in a row. But I saved my job, and I'm good today too. So we want you to be a part of the community. So keep those likes and everything coming. Also, keep the questions coming. We're having a really good conversation today, leaning more towards basketball, but certainly getting some good baseball in as well. Speaking of two teams that are kind of trending, we're talking about the Mets and the Padres. The Mets have really started to play some really good baseball lately, guys. They're on the road tonight, first game of a 4-game series in San Diego, about an hour from where I'm sitting right now here in Southern California. In this game, San Diego -172 as the favorite. The Mets are coming back at 157, a very low total, only 6.5, and that's a -115. Tawan Walker and Darvish. Darvish 5-1, 2.16 ERA. What do we like? What do we like here?
Well, the reason you're seeing these numbers so low is that you have both these pitchers have only lost 1 game. They both have ERAs, close to or under 2, which is pretty, rare. So they're expecting this one to be a close game, probably going to come down to bullpen performances. You might very well see it 1-1, 0-0 if both of these guys are on when the 5th or 6th inning rolls around. Now, I personally do not think that Tawan Walker is going to be that guy against this Padres offense. He does have his ERA is double outside of Citi Field, and he does get really nice performances at home. So I'm definitely going to be on the Padres -1.5 tonight. I think that they're the better team. I do not think the Mets can be trusted. Last night I hit that small little live play on the Mets live over or under because they went off against the Diamondbacks for 9 runs combined in the first inning, and then the Mets scored all of 2 runs in the next 8 innings. So they're not a trustworthy offense, and I don't think you can judge them based on the pitching of the Diamondbacks and that one misstep with the Braves, which was their first experience scoring more than 10 runs all year. So they don't really have the track record. I think this is a good place for the Padres to show that they're a stronger contender in the National League.
Yep.
Mikey?
Yeah, I definitely have some thoughts on it. I love the Padres on the run line. I'm playing that one myself as well. Taijuan Walker is someone that is very similar to Carlos Martinez, who got just absolutely rocked last night. I don't think it's going to happen to. I'm sorry, bud, but I don't think it's going to happen to the same degree because it is a much more pitching friendly environment here. However, if you look at the actual number versus the expected weighted on base average, you hear me talk about every day. His actual number is 217. His expected number is 303. If I sort every single pitcher who has thrown enough pitches to be qualified, he has the biggest difference in all of Major League Baseball. The number 7 pitcher with the biggest difference, Carlos Martinez. Carlos Martinez worse on the road, just had that massive blow-up spot yesterday. We're going to continue to bet on a Taijuan Walker. I won't even necessarily call it a blow-up, but like let's have a regression to a league average pitcher. Because his 217 number is literally a Jacob deGrom type number, a Garrett Cole when he's on type number. And I'm not ready to say that he is at that level at this point. We'll see. Maybe I'll eat my words later. But until these numbers come closer together in terms of actual and expected, the actual or the expected number at 303 makes him a great pitcher. It makes him an above average major league starter, exactly what we think he's going to be, exactly why the Mets paid him. But I think we're going to see some regression to what is a more realistic baseline. I think this could literally still go under the 6.5. I think we're looking at a 3-1, 3-0 Padres win.
I love that.
You love a 1-by-2. 3-1 would be perfect. It should be noted the Padres are coming off getting swept by the Cubs, but the Cubs are now trending and playing good baseball as well. But now they go on the road to play the Giants. I've got to read this. There's another game tonight because we're getting towards the end of our hour, and it goes so fast. I want to get to a few more games. The Mariners and the Angels. The SDQL gurus. I love these guys. And they dive so deep when they pick a game to find the edges. I just want to read their reasoning for picking the LA Angels. And for two guys that are high on numbers and all this, I just want to see your reaction to this. Okay? Here's the QL gurus. You know what's coming.
We know what's coming.
Here we go. The Mariners are 0-19 as road underdogs of more than 130 when seeking same-season revenge against their opponent's starting pitcher. The Angels are 16-0 in the opener of a series with rest as home favorites after a road game in which they had multi-run innings.
Okay. Let me strap in and let me tell you what I heard. Before Mike just tears this situation to threads, let me tell you what I heard. So first of all, this was actually one of the larger sample sizes that they have. So that's a little more encouraging than like the 8-0. You're talking 19 or 16-0. But what I'm hearing is that they're liking the Angels like having a day off after having a pretty productive day where they had multiple run innings, which means they had consecutive hitters hitting, multiple guys seeing the ball well. So combine that with the Mariners who just aren't doing well apparently in the scenario. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't know if I would go that way. I mean, I'm seeing sharp money on the Mariners. I think trends like this exist to be broken. You can find anything like that to support your argument, but I'll let Mike pick it up from there because I know he agrees.
Yeah, there's two things. The great thing about working with numbers and why I've done so well in my career for many reasons too, you can make the numbers say something good or bad anytime you want to. That is just an absolute fact. But I think that the obvious problem that I have with stuff like this is we're talking about like 19 game sample sizes in a single season, which means it's likely not this season. Chief, get off of me, buddy. Obvious problem on the Angels side is Mike Trout was obviously available during those games, not available tonight.
Yeah.
And then on the Mariners side, 5 of the 9 hitters in the lineup weren't on the team. So we're talking about completely different players. I get that they're teams, but everything that I do is always going to be at the individual player level. The whole, we want to quantify the value of each individual player and then put them together as a whole unit. I think there's a lot of value in some of that stuff. You can identify very clear trends, frankly, that the Maestro has been taking advantage of this week in Colorado. Those trends have a lot of validity. some of the other ones that get to like, unfortunately in this day and age in baseball, like, we switch teams so often, we call up players all the time, that something that we're talking about that happened in 2019 is mostly just noise and irrelevant, because we're not dealing with the same players. The baseball itself has changed many times. Ballparks have put humidors in to make the baseball not fly. The weather is, as you know, is very important. So what was the weather like in some of those situations? What is the weather like? That's what I get into trouble with, like, in seeing those. You see some of them that want to play an over or an under based on that. Well, that's great. But what if some of that data was when they were playing in April when it's 35 degrees versus July and 85 degrees, 90 degrees, 100 degrees. So that's, you just, like all information, it's good to not just blindly dismiss it, but I think it's important to truly understand it.
Well, I will say, we tease. I'm sorry, just let me jump right in. We only have 6 minutes left. We need 20 likes. We're 20 likes away from our second giveaway for the year-long subscription. So 20 more people. We need to like us at YouTube, and then we've got another one giveaway to a very lucky viewer. All right, Justin, go right ahead.
Well, I was just going to say about that game, I'm with you on it. I can't really find a reason that I'm going to go chase this Angels team just because that they've won in a certain scenario a bunch of times. I'll talk about stats. I mean, you'll hear me say how a team is doing this year, last couple days, because baseball is such a game of like momentum, and we talk about VMI, and your visual memory comes in and out depending on how, long you've played in a certain climate or environment. So there really are like waves to a season. Teams go on runs, they slump, core guys can't see the ball well for a little while, and the whole lineup falls apart. I do think we just hit 200 likes, but I'm definitely not chasing the Angels tonight. I think that's a good stay away.
All right, we're getting very, very, very close. Yes, we just hit 200. Very good. Thank you, Justin. All right. So the jeweler just sent me the winner, and our second winner today at Gambling Junkie 1. Very apropos. At Gambling Junkie 1, you are our winner. And don't forget, we're going to give these away all the time. 5 of you. If we hit the over tonight, 5 of you. Don't fret. Don't frown. Pick that chin up. We're going to have 5 more winners, and we'll announce them tomorrow morning on the show. By the way, we tease the SDQL Gurus a lot, but I always back it up with this. These guys are winning ball games. Yep. They're 75, 39, and 2 in their last 116 Major League Baseball picks. They're 2-1 in the last 3 Seattle money line picks. They're 3-2 in the last 5 Angel money line picks. But the bottom line is, the reason they got hired by SportsLine, they can pick baseball games. I just think it's very funny, some of their write-ups. That's all.
They're great. I actually personally use the SDQL, which is a sports data query language that allows you to query like all the sports games that you can imagine, and it's actually open for anybody to learn how to do. It's a really, really cool tool. I definitely recommend looking into the people who use this and who understand this. If you're interested in it, it's really cool. You can sort of learn it yourself. But, you look at the numbers, the plus 1995 versus the record, it looks like they should be up 35 units. The thing that can be troublesome with the SDQL gurus is you need to play them over time. You can't go in and just take one pick. They bet a lot of favorites. That's why that line isn't way above 35. If Mike was 75, 39, and 2, that would be well above 40 units, So just like exercise some caution. If you're going to play the SDQL gurus, you got to really play them. You got to really trust them. They are not the type of system that you take one game off of. And honestly, neither is Mike and neither am I. So that's just how you got to bet.
All right, guys, we got 3 minutes left, and there's been several viewers that want us to hit hockey. Let's hit hockey very, very quickly. We don't want to ignore that. It's a very important sport for us. We have plays all the time on the show. Tonight, 2 games. The Bruins up 2-0. They go on the road. Or excuse me, no, it's 1-1. The Islanders plus 130 currently. The over-under is 5. Quickly, any thoughts on that game as the Bruins lost home ice advantage?
A lot of market movement on it. Plus 1. The Islanders moved from plus 150 down to plus 130. That's really my only thought on it. Is it's quite a bit of movement on it. That's really
I think
all
we
I
get
got
some
on
more
it, though.
scoring out of Tampa Bay tonight. I mean, we saw 3 goals in each of the first 2 games. I think you get a little more scoring. It looks like it's the sharper side of the money. And I think you probably go maybe the other way on the Islanders because you have seen some goals, and you might see Boston try to clamp down defensively and return fire and get that home ice back. So yeah, I'd go under. I wouldn't play the money lines personally. That's not how I really go after hockey. I don't actually bet hockey. You don't see hockey picks from me. It's probably something that's coming in maybe like next year when I can build a model for it. But just based off of like what I'm seeing in the numbers and how I've watched some of the games, I think the stronger play is the over in that Tampa Bay. That's probably what I'd do if you made me take a pick.
Okay, I'm telling you that Matt Severance, who has been our hockey guy this year for the early edge, he's on Tampa Bay on the money line, minus 158 over Carolina. 3.1 to 2.6 for Carolina. And then the Sims in the Boston Islanders game actually have 2.8 to 2.5. So it's a B play if you play the Islanders on the puck line. But John Bowman at SportsLine is on the Islanders plus 120.
Let's go Isles. Let's go New York.
Let's go Isles. Guys, that was a full hour. Can you believe it?
No.
Believe it?
Lies.
It goes so fast. Good luck on all your plays tonight at home. Of course, follow all of my guys on social media at Justin Perri 8 or at Mikey5754. We'll be active all night long. And damn it, we want that over in the Nuggets and the Blazers game because we want as many people as possible following us and being a part of the community that we are building. You guys are amazing. The fact that you follow us, you play with us, you trust us, but you also have fun with us. And that's the bottom line of what we're all about. Final thoughts, Justin, 15 seconds.
Final thoughts. I think that you got to go bet on the Giants. I think that's a great game tonight, and maybe even take the under with Mike here. I think it's going to be a nice pitching performance from DeSclafani in that park.
Mikey.
Final thoughts. Go grab yourself a dinner and then settle in. We've got the Padres game. We've got the Giants game. We've got 2 West Coast basketball games. So go get the life out of the way a little bit now and get ready for a fun night of sports.
There you go. Don't forget, we did our MMA episode with our guy Ian Parker, who's absolutely killing it in the MMA. UFC is back this week. That's in your feed this afternoon. And then also our guy Gene Menez. He actually asked me, he says, Coach, where's my straight to the pay window t-shirt? I said, hey, you win the Belmont Stakes this Saturday, I'll send you a damn t-shirt. I'll tell you that. I love that guy. And that show will be in your feed tomorrow morning as well to get ready for the Belmont Stakes. Follow us at YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the notifications because you never know when new content is coming into your feed. We're here for you, and we love doing it. For Justin, for Mikey, I'm the coach, and for the jeweler. Remember, every single day, we're here for the early edge. We're here every Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Until tomorrow morning, take care and good luck.